Item 13, report number 103 of the Assistant Chief Executive and City Engineer, quarterly report on the Traffic Department. Is that noted?
I have questions.
Councillor Jose.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. On the traffic plan, the Parliament Street pedestrianisation and the changes to Westland Row and Peary Street, my understanding is that work has begun on Westland Row and Peary Street, and there will be work required at the Sandwich Street Peary Street junction. Could we have drawings of the entire scheme as proposed, because only one junction was included? And on the Parliament Street pedestrianisation, could we have drawings of the changes to Grattan Bridge and the facilitation of cycling from Capel Street towards Parliament Street two-way, which I think is a very important link, and I think it's important that we have the drawings for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Manager. I just have a question on the Oscar Traynor Road there. They've put a 24-hour bus lane in there, and I was just wondering what's the reasoning for it and why it's been put there. That road is an absolute chock-a-block on a day-to-day basis. We're down to one lane. We've taken on a roundabout with traffic lights on as it is, so when you're coming off the M1, it's just... So I'd just like to know the reason why a 24-hour bus lane was put there. Gormagat.
Councillor Pigeon.
Sorry.
Thank you. My question is just about Parliament Street, which I think is really, really positive, and I'm glad to see that's going ahead. Just procedurally, firstly, is that being done under kind of the Roads Act with just a bit of non-statutory consultation? And as the internal process goes in the council, is the idea that some ideas, designs or ideas for it come to the SPC or the area committee, or is it just going to be done? And then the second part of that is maybe we're getting ahead, jumping the gun a bit. Are there any plans for the bridge just there linking Capel Street and Parliament Street? I know it's referred to there, but I'm kind of, aside from a cycle access to it, I'm curious about if traffic on that is being monitored to see how necessary that bridge is for car traffic these days, just given all the changes that are taking place. Thanks very much. But just to say, it's very positive and it's to be welcomed, and I hope there isn't any opposition in the council. Thanks.
Councillor Monaghan.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I just note on page 7 of the report an amendment to regulations where vehicles must now stop and yield right of way to any pedestrian waiting to cross at a zebra crossing or who has commenced crossing. This is different to previously, where vehicles were only required to stop if someone had commenced crossing. The Traffic Department are going to issue some information to the public on these changes. Obviously, actually, many people may not be aware that a pedestrian continuing straight at any junction has right of way over a vehicle turning. We tend to cede priority to vehicles, I don't know why, when they're turning. So given that the Traffic Department is going to issue information on the rights of people around zebra crossings, could the Traffic Department look at a public information campaign on the rights of pedestrians continuing straight and their priority over vehicles that are turning at a junction? Thank you.
Councillor Ralph. Councillor Monaghan, could you just turn up?
Am I okay? Can you hear me? Just a few brief points on the bike bunkers. I see the tendering process closed in February, and I'm just wondering, where are we now with the rollout of the 300 bike bunkers? And has an operator been selected? And have there any locations been identified? If there was a bit more of a report, that'd be great, because it's a very welcome initiative. And then on the e-cargo bike, in relation to the non-profit organisations, who are you contacting in relation for funding for those? And then for the community cargo projects, I see there's one on the south side. Is there any plans to roll this pilot project out to the north side? That's it. Thank you.
Councillor Ring.
Just catch the one Latmach Kate Shocked one question on the Western Road traffic measurement. I note that private vehicles cannot turn left from Westland Row onto Pearse Street, which, you know, that's the measure that's been brought in. But yet further down it says all of Western Row and Pearse Street will still be accessible by all modes with a different approach, which suggests to me that you have to turn right at Westland Row, which you can't turn left. You go up to the new two-way system on Sandwich Street, so you turn right and then left again onto the other end of Westland Row, which is sort of bringing you around in about probably a 3/4 of a kilometre detour to get to exactly the same place. And I'd like to know the logic of that. And then my second question, the project team have commenced engagement with local businesses. This is being implemented and now we're only commencing engagement. Why didn't we have an engagement like 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever? Like, it's been imposed and I don't think local businesses are too happy. But the logic of sending cars on a journey that doesn't seem to be necessary to me in terms of climate change, etc., just doesn't make any logic. And I'd like to, maybe the manager could answer that.
Thank you. Councillor Claire Byrne.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'd just like to support my colleagues' welcoming of the plans for Parliament Street. I think the local businesses there will be really happy with this news. And I just think it's a real statement of the great progress that we've made in terms of trying to make the city safer and calmer for everybody, as well as reducing our emissions. And this brings me on to College Green as well, because I remember like about 10 years ago when we were first doing public consultations around the pedestrianisation of College Green, one of the key concerns was Parliament Street and how the buses were going to be routed down there. And we did manage to reroute buses down Werburgh Street, and that has been incredibly successful and therefore has allowed for the pedestrianisation of Parliament Street. So things can be done, but I do note in the report in relation to College Green and Dame Street pedestrianisation that we're still waiting on the NTA bus network redesign, which is incredibly frustrating. So I have two questions in relation to that. One is when will we see the report on the most recent public consultation, please? And secondly, can the manager outline exactly what discussions are taking place with the NTA in relation to the bus network redesign, and how, as a city, can we put pressure on them? Because we cannot have this project stalled. We've already been talking about it for 10 years. The people want it. We know this. It makes sense. The sky is not falling in from these traffic changes. It's going to be hugely beneficial for the city. So if we can try and put pressure, if there's anything else that we can do so that the NTA move forward with the bus network redesign, so we, in tandem with the positive response that I hope we see from the recent public consultation, and we can move ahead with this flagship project. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Flynn.
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor, and thank you very much for the report. You know, it goes without saying that everybody wants a safer, cleaner, walkable, movable city, and certainly wants one that's kind of active travel for all modes of transport, and that there's an equality and a democracy in terms of road space and public space. So basically, as I say, in principle, one would welcome these situations, but I would caution because the most recent situation in Jewellery Street, which is semi-pedestrianised, is that the people who own the shops there are looking to get the cars back into that street because of the levels of antisocial behaviour, and simply it's turned into a drunk zone. And we know what Temple Bar is about, on a regular basis. So pedestrianising Parliament Street, which has a huge amount of residents, more residents than business, there's great concern with the residents that the likes of Parliament Street will simply become a drunk zone, and that there be just wholesale antisocial behaviour. We're very much aware of that situation. In relation to Councillor Ring's observations, the businesses in the area in and around that particular district of Pearse Street are apoplectic. They're completely confused as to what happened. And as I say, we don't want the scenario that happened out along the Clontarf Road when we were building that way, where most of the business went out of business. So if you're going to have, pedestrianisation and rerouting of traffic, you want to be really clear. Otherwise, you simply won't have people within the city. They won't come into the city because the only modes of transport that they feel are safe while we wait for the policing of the public transport system is the motor car. So I'd caution against this situation, because, as I say, you could end up with a situation in our city centre whereby it's just abandoned to antisocial behaviour. Because let's face it, what actually is in Parliament Street? I mean, we saw what happened to Capel Street and the concerns down there with various individuals. And we can walk down Capel Street now, it's just a clutter and you're unsure of what's happening. The other situation is that Capel Street, which is being presented as pedestrian street, is actually open to cyclists. Now, if you get a bang of an electric bike at 30 miles an hour, you'll know all about it. And that's what's happening in that particular street. People are stepping out and walking down thinking it's pedestrianised when it's actually not pedestrianised, it's traffic free. So we need to be really, really clear here. I said again, I'm all on for a cleaner, decent environment that we can all be safe in. But we need to be very, very clear about this. And I'd asked Dublin City Council, why did they not make the consultation before doing all this? Why is this all being pushed out? And we're learning this particular news through RTE news bulletins and members of the Green Party, when it should have come to us in the first place in the South East area meeting. I'm again disappointed in the manner of my Dublin City Council Traffic Department.
Councillor Danny Byrne.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. I welcome the pedestrianisation of Parliament Street. It's a long time coming. I spoke to some of the businesses there this afternoon and they very much welcome it. They've had many trials. This has been, the only criticism is seems to be in the pipework for years. So the clear message from there today is get on with it.
Thank you. And finally, Councillor Moore.
Oh, sorry, it's actually, I pressed.
Councillor Chu, sorry.
Apologies, Lord Mayor. I'll just go with this. But listen, to Councillor's Flynn's point, if the city is safer, it's better, it's reduction in emissions, we'll gladly take the credit for it. So the Greens will happily take your credit, Councillor Flynn. The fact is, the city...
There'll be nobody in the city.
Well, Councillor Flynn, I'm speaking, so you can wait your turn. But the point is, so many people here in the chamber and outside the chamber have complained about how the city was unsafe post-COVID, that the city was empty, that there was so much lacking. And the days where it was full was when we pedestrianised streets, was when we trialled pedestrianisation in certain areas and where people had better public realm space. And that's what we need to bring it back to. If you look at the ambition that Paris have had, they have changed their city massively. They have reduced emissions. They managed to completely change the mindset when it comes to people walking around their city, people enjoying their city, and that's what we're trying to do here. We need to be leaders in the area. We can't just keep on saying the negatives and saying what shouldn't be done, but we need to lead, and I'm really delighted to see this happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Manager.
Thanks, Lord Mayor, and thanks for the various different questions. So I suppose a couple of things on Parliament Street. First of all, so Parliament Street, and by the way, we should probably take a step back. All these measures were actually in the City Centre Transport Plan, which came out in September 2023, which went through a huge level of consultation and discussion. And so what we're implementing really is the transport plan as set out. So there was consultation, there was extensive consultation at that stage. We've also been doing the more localised consultation both in Western Road, Pearse Street and in Parliament Street as well. On Parliament Street, it is our intention to conclude some of the consultation with the people in Parliament Street and to prepare a report for the May Southeast area meeting, which really will set out just what we're proposing to do. And again, a bit like Cable Street, what we're, I suppose, in essence proposing to do is in the first place to remove some of the car traffic, to allow deliveries up to 11 o'clock. And as the street settles down into a new pattern, which is very closely kind of aligned with the type of street furniture and so on that we have in Cable Street, over a period of time, we'll solidify the arrangements. Grattan Bridge itself, it will still be open for traffic. We will have a two-way cycle route across Grattan Bridge to connect both from Capel Street and Parliament Street, which in effect will give us a route which links pretty safely from Bolton Street on the north side all the way over to Dame Street on the south side. In terms of the actual procedures, this is traffic calming measures, so section 38, but as I say, we will be bringing it to the southeast area for Parliament Street. Regarding the 24-hour bus lane and Oscar Traynor, my understanding is that's the new, one of the new bus network redesign services is due to start there, but we'll get you some more information on that. The item on the zebra crossings was the fact that the legislation has actually changed. So before this, you gave way to somebody who was stepping onto the crossing. Now you must give way to somebody who's waiting on the crossing. This is national legislation. It's not our bylaws or whatever like that. But we're quite happy, Councillor, to take that and to also do the note on the pedestrians as well. So we'll basically do both. Regarding bike bunkers, that is in the process, in the tender process. It's a negotiated procedure, so we're moving through that. We hope to still have somebody appointed to that by the end of Q2. The cargo bikes, we are looking for funding at the moment from the NTA. Regarding the kind of temporary mobility school or interim mobility school, I suppose, that's the first one. We haven't looked at the north side yet, but we'll hope to kind of get to that one. We had set out in the city centre transport plan clear rationale for what we were doing at Western Row, which was Western Row is very much with the new kind of spines that are coming up and down Western Row, it's very much a public transport priority area for us now. And some of these routes are the routes that have come out, if you like, from College Green. It allows us the space to actually be able to further the ambition of that particular project. And while it would be good for us to actually take all the traffic out of Western Row, we can't do that. And we have to leave that as because it's still got the only bridge that high-sided vehicles can use. So it's not a question that we're trying to put long detours in for people. We're actually trying to prioritise public transport in this area and really to make that access work, which is not as heavily, I suppose, public transport at the moment. The reason we say that everywhere is accessible is it is. Pearse Street is still accessible, Western Row is still accessible. We're changing one turn, but if you still need to get to somewhere on Pearse Street, anywhere in Pearse Street, or you need to get to somewhere on Western Row, you can still do that. The College Green, I suppose the issue with the bus network redesign, as everybody knows, it's through a combination of driver shortages and various other things. It's not on schedule as it should be. However, what the NTA have informed us really is that by summer next year, the buses, the network redesign will be at a stage where the buses will be out of College Green, so as to allow us to make movement in that area. Just Councillor Flynn, I'm unaware of the fact that Drury Street want cars back. Nobody's contacted us at all about that. We've met with Parliament Street with the various different businesses, and most of them are quite enthusiastic about what we're proposing. So I think I've covered all the questions, but if there's anything I've missed, I'll...
Sorry, did you meet with the residents? Brendan, sorry, did you meet with the residents in the area?
We have met with business representatives. There's ongoing consultations going on at the moment, Councillor Flynn, with the various...
No, but the residents, have you met with the residents in the area?
We've met with a substantial number of people at this stage.
Have you met with the residents? I'm asking you a simple question. Have you met with the residents?
We have met with numerous people at this stage. I have somebody going around Parliament Street to talk to...
I'm asking you a simple question. Have you met the residents? You said you met the business community, you met people, but have you met the residents? This is really important.
Flynn, we'll just,
because you haven't met...
The manager has replied there. Thank you, Councillor Flynn. And
the management didn't reply.
Well, he'll get back to you.
He didn't reply. He didn't reply.
We have an emergency motion on the agenda. It's coming to 9:15. In order to deal with this properly and to get items 15 to 22 done, I would propose that we extend the meeting. We don't have to use a full allocation of time, but if we say that we extend it till 10, at least we have a time to do that. Are we agreed? Agreed. Okay. So what we will do is take 15 to 22 and then go back and we can take the emergency motion under the housing item, if that's agreeable. Yeah. I know it's a bit noisy outside, that's the problem with it, but it might be less noisy now. We could try it again now. There were roadworks and that's, yeah. Okay, thanks.
Sorry, members, is report number 13 noted? Is that agreed? I could have a proposer and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor O'Driscoll and Councillor Jackson. Thank you.